Welcome to part 2 of Adult Survivor of Childhood Sexual Abuse. This one needs a content warning. I give a definition of rape. It's not a conventional definition, but it is a definition of rape just the same. And I use a lot of curse words in the poetry. So the poetry in this part will be difficult to hear, and that's because it comes from a dark place. Within the abuse, a dark place is created, and then as an adult, when the full reality of its effect on life comes into focus, there's anger, lots of anger. You will feel that anger in this part too. You will begin to understand what role religion plays in this adult survivor world. And while it's difficult to hear, it is my hope that a glimpse of this anger and dark place will help you on your way to understanding some of the difficulties faced by the adult survivors. There's nothing pleasant about this part of the journey, but still I hope that my walk opens your eyes to the fact that it is a journey, and one that hurts every step of the way. I also hope that you see that in my walk, I am persevering, I am standing, and I am speaking to end the silence. Thank you.
Now, there comes a time in a child's life when sex becomes that thing. The thing that everyone's talking about. Some are actually having sex. They talk about it. They have ideas about it. Its goodness or its badness. Parental involvement is minimal because, we ain't asking them. But we need to know. Now, way back in the early 2000s, the Today Show's Katie Couric revealed that studies showed that 1 in 3 adolescents turn to the media for questions about sex. Now, the media wasn't quite as social then as it is now. But back then, almost 20 years ago, 1 in 3 adolescents went to the media with their questions about sex. Now, imagine having 3 kids and hearing that statistic. Now, I was homeschooling my boys and my girl was in school. I was the youth choir director. I was the director of the young people's department in the AME church. Now, as many of you know, in the AME church, the Missionary Society oversees the YPD, so naturally, I was a missionary also. And on the occasion that I heard that statistic, having 3 children of my own, I panicked. Like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So, at the society meeting, I told about the statistic and elaborated on how we need to start talking about sex with our children. As I was elaborating, you could hear the the gasps and from the members. They were appalled, absolutely appalled. I was reprimanded in that meeting for even mentioning sex. That's not the way we do things, I was told. That's not the way we do things. Later that evening, I got a call from the Philadelphia area director of the Missionary Society and was reprimanded again for mentioning the word sex in a meeting, because that's not the way we do things. Now imagine carrying this boulder and hearing those words. As I struggle emotionally and strive to march forward, I struggle fearfully and find me without words. Coherency has escaped my mind, rationality damned and present, reasonableness lags behind. Practical thought is bent. I sigh, I cry, I laugh, and I say goodbye. Don't know what I'm feeling. It's not new nor is it old. It just is when time plays outside its cage. Distress can't explain. Hurt is too plain. Confusion may answer that which I can't feign. How to talk, how to say. Take a walk, perhaps I'll stay. There is no rhyme and there is no reason. Only time in its season. Season. A term of change. When does mine come without the rage? Who stands with me? Who will walk in my shoes? Who will see me as I walk on through? Ghosts visit, ghosts insist. This is it, without benefit. Who will hear? Who is it who will bear the burden of pain causing the strain? There is much to tell in this life of hell. It's not the fiction you know, it's the reality you refuse. Don't talk about that, don't speak of those things, bury it. 6 feet won't be enough, but bury it anyway. The hollows of the mind hold on in its emptiness, the hurt, the pain, spinning without a compass. To the victim of childhood sexual abuse, this is one of the most damning statements known. What do you mean? But it was done. Sex happened. But we can't talk about that. Sex happened. But we can't talk about that because that's not the way we do things. Now, in religion, when we talk about sex, we use these 6 words. Abstinence, procreation, promiscuity, intimacy, love, and marriage. These are the things we use to discuss sex. But there's a problem with this because these words can't help us when it comes to rape. So we have to ask, what is rape? Okay? Abstinence, procreation, promiscuity, intimacy, love, and marriage, they do nothing to help us with the definition of rape. So we're going to answer the question of what is rape. So, rape, it's the act of forcible sex on an unwilling person. That's the legal definition. But it doesn't quite define rape. Rape is a physical act, okay? A physical act. It is sex. Now, sex requires the joining of sex organs of 2 parties. Now, whether that joining be the sex organs themselves or other body parts, the physical engagement of the sex organs has the primary purpose of bringing one or both parties to an orgasm. Now, most, if not all of us, have been taught to some extent that our sex organs are private. We have been taught that our sex organs are sacred. We have been taught that our sex organs are dirty. Some of us have been taught that our sex organs are ours to do with as we please. But we all know this one thing about sex. It's private. Okay? We choose to have sex or we don't. We have control. And it's private. But it's the control, okay? Even in a society where sex is as casual as hooking up, we still maintain control. So what happens when someone takes sexual intercourse control away from you? Now, there's a lot of studies out there that say sex is about control. There's a lot of studies out there that say rape is about control. It's not sexual. They're wrong. Rape is sexual. Okay? Rape is sexual intercourse. It is the joining of sex organs in a manner that is not consistent with what we know and believe about sex. Okay? It's not robbery. It's not breaking and entering. Rape is different, and that's why it has its own criminal definition. Now, if you're stabbed or shot, okay, it leaves a scar. There's a wound. There's something you can see, okay? The weapon, it penetrates the skin, and the skin is not supposed to be penetrated, okay? So we understand the wrongness of being shot or stabbed. We understand the wound, okay? But rape is the penetration of a place that's designed to be penetrated. There is no visible wounds. Rape is sexual intercourse. Now, suppose you were robbed. Someone breaks in your house, okay? You feel absolutely violated. You call the cops, file a report. If your home is broken into, call your insurance company. The police, they investigate. The insurance company investigates. Sometimes the cops find a suspect and they arrest them. The insurance company says, okay, your stuff was valued at this, and they give you some money to replace what was stolen. You can't do that in rape. You're not going to get back what was stolen. See, you're penetrated sexually. Your sexual organs are used against your will. Someone stuck a finger, a penis, some alien object into your vagina. Someone took your sex organ, and you're a witness to that taking. Someone took your sex organ. You experienced it. But because your sex organ remains intact, you are questioned about whether or not it was taken. Nobody else saw anybody take it. There was nobody else there. Because sex is private, remember? People do these things in private. Sex is private. Nobody rapes anybody in public. Now, here's the big deal about people not believing your sex organ was taken. Okay? There's a separation between your sex organ and your person. I mean, some of us give our sex organs their own name. They're their own little entity. And when you think about it, okay, there's more justice for stealing a kidney than there is for stealing somebody's sex organ. You see, because taking the kidney, there's something physically missing. But your sex organ remains intact. You're not missing it. It's not going anywhere. They can't physically remove it from you. But they took it. So, the sex organ, upon being taken, is involuntarily put into drive. Remember how I told you sex? We have a sex drive? Well, that drive is engaged against your will. And we can't stop it. You can't stop it. Now, what we believe about sex, abstinence, procreation, intimacy, love, and marriage, okay? These are the things we believe that sex represents. All these good things that we associate with sex, having kids, getting married, love. Sexual intercourse is life. When somebody takes your sexual intercourse, when somebody rapes you, they are literally stealing life. So it goes against everything we know about sexual intercourse. It goes against everything we believe about sexual intercourse. Rape is a contradiction to life. So even the Bible says, whosoever sins sexually sins against their own body. The victim of rape has not sinned sexually, but they are a victim of that sin nonetheless. Now, how many of y'all remember The Color Purple? Yeah, me and my Me and my sisters, we quote that movie all the time. I know a lot of people that have many quotes, but there's one quote that we never use. In the beginning of that movie, Celia's dad comes in to take that baby and he says, "You better not never tell nobody but God. It'd kill your mama. You better not never tell nobody but God." Now let's talk about childhood sexual abuse and religion. Keeping in mind that 90% of survivors never report. Here's this child who's been exposed to sex in the most unnatural way. For the remainder of childhood, he or she hears and learns about these 6 words up here. These words that are associated with sex. And sex before marriage is wrong. What is a child with a secret sex life to make of this? You better not never tell nobody but God. But God said sex before marriage is wrong. If I tell God, I'm going to be punished. The darkness of the light. Shadows fill the night. Strangers creep into sight. Darkness holds you tight. Sinking, failing, screaming. Darkness wins the fight. The darkness of the light. When life threatens awakening, giving sight. Rising, standing, screaming. This is your fight. The darkness of the light destroys, casts down, cowers in fright. Falling, screaming, challenging. Who are you, this light? The darkness of the light keeps itself close and tight. The bosom friend, the shadow in the night. Standing, screaming, promising. For you, I'll be bright. The darkness of the light, a shadow in the night. Trust not it to your sight, for it is never right. Crawling, bending, lying, saying, darkness is the light. I looked at this picture for a time, wondering who would hold my hand. I looked at this and wondered, would I hold it if I can? Will a hand lead to light or back to the dark of night? Will it be a hand of grace or one that slaps me in the face? What hand can I hold that won't scar my soul? What hand is true? What hand will see me through? What hand will never turn against me? What hand will never turn away? What hand will never betray the trust and bury it in the dust? What is a hand that betrays the trust? What is this hand of mistrust? What is the hand covered in dust that hides in its own disgust? What is the hand that day to day reaches out in false hope, the hand that gives while tying the hanging rope? It is the hand that makes me sad. It is a hand, a rage breaking bad. It is the hand I wish I never had. It is the hand that I call Dad. I just want the opportunity to know and feel that thing that says, Daddy's dead. When that time comes, I will say, damn, I'm free. I will cry for the loss, but I will rejoice. Don't be sorry, I'm not. Don't tell me to get over it. Don't tell me to forget. Don't say shit to me if you've never lived in regret. I didn't do it, but I gotta pay, washing and cleaning the dirty every day. It never leaves, like death it lingers long, testing you, challenging you your whole life long. You're you, but you're not your own, the branding not visible, on your being it is sown. The pruning hurts as you grow like a weed, plucking, cutting, knowing not your own fucking seed. Planted, sown, but what is it you cannot know? But you're alive, let it grow. For God said the seed will not return void, and that makes me what? The fifth toe? A fucking toy? The seed planted, branded, who the fuck am I? Who am I to you? To God, but a fuck born to die. To the child who has been sexually abused, these words carry little meaning. To the child who has been sexually abused, he or she has already been stamped wrong, and this by the very God and his people whom he or she is directed to love. Who loves this child? Who saves this child? The God who saves? The God who forgives? The God who loves? I'm sad but determined. I'm glad, afraid, and withholding. I am afraid but persevering. I'm bold with humility peering. I speak, silently holding. I shout, softly calling. I am, though hidden and falling. I can, as I can't, out walking. I will as I won't, shout, stalking. I do as I don't fight, shouting. I bend as I stiffen and soften. A contradiction? Yeah, that's me. Loving and hating flows as a river to the sea. Together they should not be, so said the God who made me. If I am, if I am being, how say you I'm wrong for saying what I'm seeing? What know you about me going through? No question have you asked, not knowing me or my past. What have you to fight? Your boss? Your financial plight? Try for once. Try on this one occasion. Try my shoes on. This abuse is heavy laden. Oh, wait. You know the struggle. And yet you remain so in your bubble. You know and you get your own wish to forget. But you allowed me to get wet. God said, go and sin no more. I wonder what he's speaking for. For it is not my sin to which I must repent. 'Tis the sin of the father that I must forget. It is said, the word is spoken. Woman, bitch, you are but a token. God himself took a woman, no remorse. Just par for the fucking course. Immaculate, of course. No harm, no remorse. If God can have his way, what woman carries sway? If God did it, if Jesus is true, then open your legs, bitch. God said it's what you're supposed to do. Don't argue, don't question, just shut up and spread 'em. Take that penis, take it all, and when I'm done, don't you dare fall. But beware if you do. I'll be there to catch you. I will hold you up, uplift you when you fall, so long as you take this penis. Baby, even God said, you can have it all. Please, stop asking me to pray. Stop telling me it's the only way. I'm aware of my life today as I was aware that long ago yesterday. No one told me then to pray. No one saved me on that dark day. No God of wrath came to slay the evil dragon taking my life away. No God of love protected me that day. No God of love watched me as my life slipped away. No love at all as my heart rent and frayed. There was no God of love to save me that day. So please, stop asking me to pray. It isn't long before the victim is labeled. These are some of the terms used to describe the child. These labels are handed out rather liberally in the church. All of these lead the child to believe that the sexual abuse they suffered is their fault. What is faith? Is it tangible? Does it have form? How do you know you have it? Can it be seen? Can it be worn? When life happens, as is the case, can faith put life back in the right place? Can we keep going despite life's blows? Is that the faith of those in the know? If God is real, very powerful is he, but I don't feel it nor see how it can be. All things work together for good? That's what the good book says. But why does it have to hurt so bad? And what of grace these days? Is this the mercy I can expect? Is this grace filled with love? Is this the blessing God's raining from above? If this is mercy, grace in disguise, 'tis a cruel God I find intent on my demise. He seeks to destroy me, bring me low upon my knees, through torment and torture, in fact, through any means. Is that free will? Am I given a choice to make? Worship God and live, or my life he shall take? What of the hurt? What of the pain? Do these things not matter? As life goes in God's eyes, feelings are merely spatter. No matter that he made us, no matter the difficulty faced, worship God at all costs, right? Or find yourself defaced. It's all a big jumble of things I don't understand. If God is who he says he is, then all else be damned. This misery is crazy. How am I supposed to have faith? There's no light in this tunnel, no possibility of escape. Where are you, God, in my time of need? Where's the joy of the promise of a new day indeed? I once believed you, and all of the promises of old, but I've since learned that all that glitters ain't gold. I don't know what you want from me. I certainly can't fathom your plan, but my life is my own. I'll take it in my own hands. I'm all out of faith. If that's wrong, oh well. If this is grace or even mercy, what does it feel why does it feel like living hell? Maybe I'm crazy, selfish and deluded, but these are my thoughts, answers I've concluded. Yes, I know you're there, impersonal, far off and aloof, and I have my own circumstances as vital in living proof. Changing hearts, you say, changing lives? From my perspective, lies, lies, lies.
Whew, that was harsh, wasn't it? Now, after all of that, it's probably necessary to take some time to recover. I know I needed it. And for you empaths out there, I have to remind you, the pain and anger is not yours. You can let it go. There is a lot of pain in the adult survivor. There's a lot of anger. Some can't articulate it in a way that others would understand it, and that's one of the reasons why I use poetry. It's difficult, yes, but understanding is a must if we are to help the survivor through the process. Now, remember, it's okay to reach out to someone if you need to talk. That's perfectly okay, and there are several options you have. You can use the text line 741-741 and somebody will be available for you, or you can call the National Sexual Assault Hotline 800-273-8255. And just remember that you really are not alone and that help really is available. Thanks for listening. Part 3 will be coming soon. Thanks.